So, surprise, surprise, I got totally lost here on this major road 30, and one of the kindest guys you can imagine, named Luke here, stopped and asked me if I needed help, and 9 out of 10 times I don't, but this time I did, just because I couldn't figure out between the GPS and everything else where the hell to go. I'm going to this town called McKee, and Luke is luckily going to the same place. But, yeah, it was a godsend. Oh, is it that back that way? Jeez. Oh, jeez. You know, and I couldn't figure it out as much as I tried back and forth with the GPS and the maps. And Luke here's interesting. He's going out a little camping trip to, what was the name of the place?
I'm going to Turkey Foot.
Turkey Foot, that's right. You told me that. And you're just going to camp out by yourself?
Yes.
And then how long after that you'll see? No set schedule?
Yeah, no set schedule.
Good for you.
I'm wide open. I've got 3 weeks.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Are you working now? You just time off? You retired or?
I'm retired.
Good for you. What kind of work you do?
Pretty much self-employed.
Okay.
Property maintenance.
Okay. Right around here or how far? Where?
Somerset, Kentucky.
Okay. I'm not real familiar with the state. So is that far from here or?
It's about 50 miles.
Okay. Gotcha. I'm sure there's some nice areas to camp, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. Good. That's my computer telling me whatever. Yeah. But that's not bothering you too much. I'll just let it go. The computer, yeah, it's telling me rerouting, and it didn't know what the hell it was doing. So I think our destination's McKee, right?
Yes.
And I'll jump out. Okay.
Yeah.
But I can't tell you how much I appreciate this. Continuing on with Luke, but he camps out the last, winter 40 days. But then I asked him if he's been camping out and hiking a long time, and he told me at 13 years old, you are hitchhiking and jumping on railroad cars.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. In Kentucky.
Yeah.
So,
See, I can also go that way.
Gotcha. So, the hitchhiking, I get. The railroad cars, how's that work? You just, when they stop, you sneak on, or?
Yeah, it's back then. I don't know what it's like now.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it's pretty much the same. But
At 13 years old.
my experience was with the old hobos that
Yep.
had been out there since World War II. A lot of them.
Really?
Yeah.
And they would just ride the rails.
That's all.
So
they did.
what? We're going back to what year was this roughly?
Started out in the 70s.
Okay.
The early 70s.
So you
late
were born
60s,
in what
60s.
year?
I was born in 54.
Okay.
So I started leaving home when I was in 65, 60, about 67, 68.
And the guys on the rails that's the life they'd live, huh? Just traveling along. Yep. And now these are commercial railroad trains, I'm thinking, huh?
Yeah.
Carrying cargo and.
Yeah.
So how would it work? You would just jump on at a stop and.
Yeah, you learn the yards,
Okay.
what from the other people who did it, and they would give you information. Like if you're going, say, to Klamath, from Bend, Oregon, down to Klamath Falls,
Yeah.
Oregon, you would, they'll say, like when you're coming into the yards from the north, get off at a certain place,
right.
Don't ride into the yards. Or if you're riding into Bend, hey, Safeway store is good for some food there, dumpster jumping, stuff like that.
So where would they and you sleep at night? Would you sleep in the cars, or you'd find a spot in town?
Well, if you was riding at night, you'd sleep.
If you're riding at night,
train.
you'd sleep on the train.
Then,
and what kind of cars are these? Just cars with cargo in them, like supplies, or empty cars?
Empty box cars.
Empty box cars.
Grain cars. If they were turned right, they had a platform on the back that you could ride on. Even flat cars, like.
Now, did the conductor, did they know you were on, or they didn't care, or it depended, or
some did. Some they didn't. Some guys didn't say nothing,
Right. Other guys would kick you off.
But they had railroad bulls in some of the towns.
And they searched the cars.
You were trespassing. Yeah, you had to get 30 days in jail or something.
Really? So how long did you do that for?
I did that for about 5 years straight.
Really?
Yeah.
From 13 years old? No. Okay, you just started doing it then, yeah.
I did. I turned 16 in Florida.
Right.
Working in a car lot. I'd hitchhike down there.
Yeah.
But I'd made trips from Kentucky to Indianapolis and other places like Cincinnati and places. I started doing that when I was about 13.
Wow.
And
that was just for the adventure of it, or
pretty
you
much,
wanted to see the world?
Pretty much. I mean,
did you have two parents growing up, or
No.
No. Did you have one parent growing up, or
yeah, just mother.
and your mom? And it was tough at home, I guess, huh? And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eastern Kentucky. I grew up in Eastern Kentucky. So.
And did you leave on your own, or did your mom kind of?
No, I left.
Yeah.
I was destined for trouble.
Yeah, I got you. Was she happy to see you leave, or sad, or?
No, she wasn't happy. Mom was a good person.
Yeah, I got you.
Just,
So
know.
you wanted to do other things. So you did that, and then how'd you wind up in Florida?
I hitchhiked to Florida.
Wow.
That was the first time, and got a job at a car lot,
Okay.
and turned 16 working there that year.
Wow.
And then I spent time in Atlanta, Georgia that year.
Yep.
Made the Piedmont Park. This is when the hippies were.
And then you went back on the rails?
Didn't start
Eventually?
riding trains until 76, 77, 76.
Okay.
76. And I did 4 years and a half in prison.
Okay.
So that kind of put all that on hold for a while.
And where was that? What state was that?
Here in Kentucky.
Okay. How was that? Very, very tough, or
No, it was.
it was easy?
I mean,
How old were you?
I went there when I was 17.
Okay.
And I turned 18 that spring.
And then you were in your early 20s when you got out?
I was in my early 20s when I got out. Yeah.
And that's when you jumped
And
back
then
on the rails?
That's when I seriously took to the rails. I went
Wow.
out west and
And how long did you do that for?
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So you were traveling with no home, just on the rails?
Steadily for 5 years.
Wow. And where'd you go? All over, or predominantly west?
Yeah. Mostly I like the Northwest best.
Yep, it's
I mean,
beautiful
that
up
was,
there. Yeah.
And
Through Oregon, Washington, Idaho.
yeah,
Okay.
California, Arizona.
Did you settle down in any
Oregon.
places for any period of
No.
time? Nothing.
No, nothing at all. No.
Just on the trains, through towns. A lot of people doing the same thing, or?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a whole community of people.
Really?
Doing that. Yeah.
How'd you make money? Did you
You just
have to
odd
beg,
job.
borrow, and steal? Odd jobs here and there? Okay.
Yeah, all that. Yeah.
So you were just working places a little
Yeah.
bit, make some money, and then back?
Yeah, back then you could walk on construction jobs and certain jobs. And
Right.
they just put you to work, you know. And
Now, were you satisfied doing that?
yeah, I enjoyed it.
You wanted
Yeah.
to travel, and that
Yeah,
was,
I
you
did.
got into that routine.
Mhm.
And you hooked up with some guys, I guess, and you traveled with those guys
Yeah.
for a bit? Wow.
Yeah, travel. You hook up with somebody you knew or somebody you didn't know. Sometimes you
Yeah.
travel with them, get to know them, then split. Maybe
Yeah.
a few months later, run into them someplace
Yeah,
else,
yeah.
and you travel. You know, and it's
And you
just-
did that for 5 years, and then what'd you wind up doing? Did you just get a little tired of it?
I got married
Ah, you got married. Okay, that explains it. So
And,
where was that?
in Somerset, Kentucky.
So you came back to Kentucky, and was this a girl you had known, or did you
No.
meet her when you came back?
No, I came to Somerset. I'd never been to Somerset
Okay.
before, and just ended up settling in there. And I don't know, there's no plan, you know, just
Yep.
just happened.
So you got married, and then you settled into Somerset, Kentucky.
Married for 27 years, and
Okay.
raised 2 sons.
Oh, that's great.
And one's in Bloomington, Indiana.
Really? Wow.
Just talked to him the other day.
What does he do?
He works at the university there.
Okay.
And works with the what would you call it, the ethnical groups, the
Okay.
minority groups
Sure.
in college.
And what about your other son? What does he do?
He works for an advertising agency
Wow.
in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Look at that. And what about your wife? Is your wife still
She
together, or are you
No, we
separated?
divorced.
Okay, I'm sorry to hear that.
after 27 years.
Yeah, for
so
27 years.
Yeah.
And where does she live?
She lives in Illinois,
Okay.
Tuscola. She went back. That's where she was from.
Understood. And then while the kids were young and you were settled down, you were doing what type of work now?
I just mainly property maintenance.
Ah, right. You told me
But,
that. Now, did you miss being on the rails a little bit? The freedom of it, or
of course,
yeah, but it's.
But we did our traveling too. So
You did, okay.
yeah,
With the boys, did you have them hiking and traveling and all
Yeah,
that? Yeah,
yeah.
and they enjoy that. Yeah.
yeah, they
Good.
still do that a lot. with
Well,
their
they got a dad who's got an incredible, interesting history. What did they think about those stories when you used to tell them about the rails and everything?
Yeah, but we made their history too. So
Yeah, they did their own thing too. Yeah,
Yeah.
you take them all sorts of things and adventures and all
Yeah,
that. I'm
we-
sure. Yeah.
yeah, we did a lot of traveling and
How'd you travel, by car mostly and camping, or?
once with boys that was car traveling.
Yep.
My wife and I, we did a backpacking trip right after we got married. We just read Peter Jenkins's Walk Across America,
Okay.
and it's interesting. We was thinking about something like, taking some kind of hiking trip.
Yep.
So we backpacked about roughly 700-800 miles, I guess. So
When was this?
right after we got married, so that
Oh
would have
my
been
God.
80.
So that's a special woman that's going to backpack for 700-800.
Yeah.
And
We rode
She was
a-
good with that.
We rode, yeah. She really.
What part of the
enjoyed
country? Down here?
it. We left in, almost where I picked you up, not
Yeah.
too far, London, Kentucky, and we went all the way across eastern Kentucky in the mountains over to Virginia.
How long did it take you to do that?
We was a little over 3 months.
Wow. And you would just camp out wherever? And were you following a specific trail, or kind of making your own thing?
Kinda. We had worked a little bit along the way. And,
Yep.
Just meet people and yeah. And we rode 11 miles. I forget how many miles altogether that was. to tell you the
Right.
truth. It was one way. It was like yeah. I'd say about. I'd probably exaggerating there a little bit. It's more like 600 miles.
I'll cut you some slack there. 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
Look, you can let me off forever, my
Yeah,
friend.
there's
Listen.
we'll come into the town here.
Yeah, I cheated a little here. I probably shaved about 15 miles, but given how lost I was and how interesting your story is, I'm not going to.
Well,
I'm not going to fret about it.
We-
You're one of the most interesting guys I've come across in a
On
long,
that-
long time.
On that backpacking trip, we cheated 11 miles.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, you got in the car with someone, or
We
yeah?
rode up
Okay,
out of,
there you go.
I remember in Jenkins, Kentucky.
Yeah.
We camped there, and I got something happened. I don't know what happened. I was kind of running a fever or what killed me.
Yeah.
And when we got them out of that, just walking. You had to walk up, kind of up the mountain to get back on the highway.
Yeah.
And this guy stopped, offered us a ride. We took a ride. And he took us up to the state line. Actually,
Gotcha.
It was
Yeah.
a mountain.
Well,
And,
if you can cheat, I can cheat, right?
So?
I'll keep. You won't tell anyone that I hitched a ride here for about 20 miles, but it's all documented now.
it's all
but it's all good.
public.
It's
now,
all
but,
good. I'll cop to it. Maybe I'll find 20
let-
miles to make up at some place.
You'll have to do a Biden Hunter.
We'll
This is a
see.
neat little place.
Yeah, looks like a nice little town. It's been a while since you've been here, though, huh?
Yeah, this hasn't changed though. I don't
No.
know anything about it.
Yeah.
Just, So you wanna?
I'll jump out right here, man. This
Okay.
is
This
good.
is cool.
Hey, taking enough out of your way. Can't thank you enough. I really can't.
It's good company.
I was getting worried
No,
there.
no.
I tried to flag down 1 or 2 cars that wouldn't even stop, but God works in mysterious ways. You came along.